Hello everyone, my name is Treadway and I am a visual effects artist, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get started inside of Unity. This is a beginner's tutorial, so if you've never been in the Unity engine, or if you've ever had a chance, or if you've never had a chance to create visual effects in any way, shape, or form, this is an excellent video to get started with, and we'll show you how to just get up and running making real-time visual effects inside of Unity. So yeah, let me just go ahead and dig into it. So for starters, I'm going to go through first how to download Unity Hub, which is the main way to get into Unity right away. Next off, I'm going to talk about Unity versions and what versions you should go into, especially for beginners, as well as if you are working with a group, making sure that you get the correct Unity version so that way you stay up to date with version control. Third, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get set up with the visual effects graph inside of Unity, which is Unity's new particle system editor. And lastly, we're going to build just a simple swarm particle system using some of the sample assets that Unity provides for you as you come into the engine. So that's just going to give you a basis of how to start up in Unity. So for starters, you're going to open up your favorite browser. Mine is Google Chrome, but for the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and use Microsoft Edge. Go ahead and pop that up. And you're just going to type into the search bar, go to Google, Bing, whatever search engine you use, and just type Unity. As you type in Unity, it's going to take you to the top searches, which is Unity's actual website. You can go to this website if you want to see some of the updates with Unity and some of the stuff that they've been working on, as well as hearing some business insight and seeing a bunch of stuff that other creators have been doing inside the Unity engine. But for what we're doing, you're going to need to go to download here inside of the Unity real-time development platform. Just press download. It's going to take you to Unity's page here in the Unity store, and you're going to need to download Unity Hub to do so. You have to accept the terms. Right now, we're just using Unity to teach, and we're not using it in a professional sense. This all has to do if you are making money off of Unity, or if you are earning funds in excess of 100K, which for most of us right now we're not worried about. But if you are going to sell the game that you are working on, it is better to go with Unity Pro. But you can go ahead and save that for a different video. So we're going to go ahead and press download Unity Hub down here at the bottom. It's going to go ahead. Oh, yep, it's going to download here at the top. I've downloaded 2 here, but I will go ahead and download what you guys will have. It's going to do a Windows question to see if you're going to allow the app to make changes to your device. Go ahead and select yes. Then it's going to show you the Unity Hub setup. Go ahead and select I agree and install. I currently have it installed already, so I'm going to skip that part, but it will go ahead and install for you, and then it will give you the option to press finish at the end. Go ahead and select finish. And then that will allow you to now start using Unity Hub. Alright, so now that you have Unity Hub downloaded, you should be able to open it up, and the most recent version as of making this video is 2.43. It doesn't matter if you guys have a newer or older version, should still get the same job done. But this is what Unity Hub looks like when you first open it. You have 4 tabs here on the left. One of them is the Learning tab. You can go through this and see a bunch of games that are good for beginners. You can download any of these games and just start messing around inside of Unity and see how other developers have set up their projects. On Unity's website, they have tutorials that you can follow with to learn more about the engine using these different projects, as well as they have some tutorials that will guide you through how to get started inside of Unity. But for right now, we're just worried about visual effects stuff, so I'm not going to go into all the scripting and all the different stuff that comes with Unity. Then you have the Community tab, which allows you to check out forums, answers, the blogs, get live help from Unity themselves. And then you have installs. I have a bunch of versions of the engine right now on here, but this is where you'll see all of your engine versions inside of Unity Hub. So before we get started working on a project, we need to download a version of the Unity engine that we can actually go inside of and start working on. So what you're going to need to do is go to installs over here on the left, and this will list off all of the Unity versions that you have on your system. Right now I currently have quite a bit of different engines, But for you, you are not going to see any installs here. What you're going to want to do is go to Add, and then what you'll want is to choose the recommended release. The recommended release is typically the most up-to-date version of the engine that has long-term supports. That's what LTS stands for, long-term support. You can also choose a different official release. You want to go with typically the most up-to-date version with LTS. However, if you are working with a group, you want to make sure that you have the same version of the engine. So making sure that you have the exact same version is very helpful. But there are other releases you can see. We have the 2021 version as well as the 2018 version. Allows you to use the engine from different time periods as well as try out some of the new features that they are working on. But for this one, you're going to select the Unity 2020.3.11 F1 if you are following along with this video around the time, but this is the most updated version as of right now. You're going to select Next. I actually have it downloaded already, so I'm going to go ahead and close it here. And then you can see here, I just about have it downloaded, but once this is done, I will come back. I'll just take a break for right now. All right, we're back, and I now have Unity 2020.3.11 F1 with long-term support downloaded and ready to go. So what we're going to do now is you go to Projects. We're going to create a new project. So there are a bunch of options for getting started inside of Unity, but for what we are doing with visual effects, we will want to use the universal render pipeline. There's a bunch of differences, but for just being a beginner for right now and trying to learn the visual effects graph, a good place to start is just inside the universal render pipeline. So we're just going to go ahead and call this Beginners Project. Cool. So this is just going to be our beginners project, and then you can choose where you save it by clicking here and going through your different areas, but I like to keep mine in a Unity personal projects folder inside of my E drive. So I'll go ahead and press create. It's going to take some time here, but it's going to start creating a Unity file or a Unity project for us. It's going to initialize it and resolve all the packages and get us set up. You will see a really cool decal from Unity on the center of your screen. Mine is actually on my other monitor, so you can't see it here. But yeah, you're just going to go ahead and wait for that to finish. All right, now once you are all set up inside of Unity and have the project open, this is what you should see. On the right, you will see a brief description about what the universal render pipeline is. We don't need to worry about that for right now. But a quick overview of what you're looking at. Down below is your project folders. This is everything that you have inside of your project. Any assets that you bring in, like 3D models, textures, or materials that you might be working on will appear down here. And then on the left-hand side, this is the hierarchy. This is where anything that is inside of your scene at any given time will be. So when you create visual effects, we will be putting all our visual effects inside of the hierarchy here. Then this is the scene view, and then at the top you can switch between the scene view and the game view. So the scene view is an editor window that allows you to fly around using WASD. If you right click, you can start flying around in a camera. Kind of like Forge mode and Halo kind of feels, but you just fly around and you can zoom in on different things and select things in the environment. This is a light, and then this is the main game camera. So the main game camera is what you are seeing inside the game view. So if I wanted to get started and create, say, just a cube, now when I go to the game view, I can see, oh, there's a cube, because in my game camera, you can see that cube right there. So what we're going to do is get started with the visual effects graph. We need to make sure that it went ahead and loaded it into the Unity engine that we have downloaded. Sometimes it does it automatically, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on where they are at with the development process of the visual effects graph. I believe now it is always inside of the Unity engine when you download it, but I just want to make sure. And the way you make sure is you go to Package Manager. So you go Window, Package Manager, which will open up this window right here. This will fetch for all the packages in your project. We're going to go ahead and switch it to the Unity registry. and then scroll all the way to the bottom. We're looking for a V for visual effects graph. Here it is. Yep, it is not installed. So what we're going to want to do is press install. That will install the visual effects graph into our project, allowing us to start making visual effects using the VFX graph. Now, traditionally, you would be using a different particle system editor known as Shuriken inside of Unity. However, with the new functionality of the visual effects graph, I highly recommend switching over to the new visual effects graph. It allows you to do a lot more as well as save on memory. So what we're going to do is close this, and we're going to right click, scroll down to effects, visual effects, and that will allow you to create your first visual effect. So now if we go over here, you won't see anything playing on this visual effect. That's because we haven't made any visual effects. This is basically a game object looking for a visual effect that we can create. So what you're going to want to do is create a folder. You just want to make sure that you have a good folder set up. We're going to call it VFX graphs. So now any visual effects graphs we make will be inside of this folder. So we're going to start out with our first one. So you'll right click, create, and then you're going to go down to visual effect. Let's see if my eyes deceive me. They do. I actually think you need to close and reopen it. Let me just double check I'm not crazy. Oh yeah, here you go. Oh no, that just creates the game object. Let me go ahead and delete that game object. Right click. There it is, visual effects. So you go down to visual effects and then select visual effects graph. We'll use the prefix VFXG for visual effects graph, and we'll call it swarm because it's going to be our first effect and it's going to be a swarm effect. So in order to get it working, you're going to click on the visual effect in your hierarchy and drag your asset that is a visual effects graph into the asset template, which it's looking for a visual effects asset, which is what this is down here. And then you will start to see particles spawning out of the center of that visual effects graph. And now, if we click on this visual effects graph inside the hierarchy, we can move it around to different areas inside our scene, as well as we can see it now through our game view. So these are just test particles coming up in the air. This is similar to what you would see if you were to create a shuriken particle system, which would look like this if you just create a particle system. It's very similar to the old system and how they had it set up and how it looks, but we're working with the visual effects graph now. Out with the old and in with the new. So we're going to go ahead and open up the visual effects graph, just double click that, which will lead us to our very first visual effects graph. If you move it over to the right, there's a little button up here that will lock it into full screen for you. But just like anything inside of Unity, you can pull it around or put it in different tabs wherever you want. The windows can move wherever which way you want. So if you want to work simultaneously with something else, you can do that as well. I like to pull it out and put it in full screen just because when I'm working on one thing, I want to be focused on one thing. But just for the sake of showcasing how it works, we're going to go ahead and do half of the screen as the visual effects graph, and then pull out the scene view. I'm going to go ahead and just put it over here. There we go. So that way we can see in the scene view what we're working on. So if I pull that here, so you'll see this is going to be what we see here. So this system is basically creating this visual effect. So what I want to do is showcase something really cool and super easy to start with. Just highlight everything, press delete, and now you have a completely empty void, just completely dark. So what we're going to do now is you're just going to right click, create node, and you're going to type in swarm. So this is going to give you this first option, which is a simple swarm particle system. Just select that and it will do all the work for you. And you will see Unity's first test particle system, the swarm particle system down here on the right. And then you will be able to see exactly what goes into creating the particle system. To navigate around this, just make sure to press the middle mouse button, and then right click is how you create nodes and such. Then you can select it as you go. But I'll save explaining how the systems work for another video, but for right now I just want to get our feet wet with some fun stuff. So if you go down to the bottom here, there's a node called Set Color Over Life. What it's doing is basically it's taking a particle's life, so when a particle spawns, it has a lifetime. So let's say each particle's lasting, how long for this one? Lifetime is 1 to 3 seconds. So every time a particle spawns, it takes a random value between 1 and 3 seconds. So when it is first spawned, it has that 0 of its life, and then as it goes on to the end of its life, it's going to change color. So what we want to do is we want to open up the gradient editor here, and I've got a bunch of different gradients you can mess with, but let's go and do the blue one for now. But you can go ahead and change the color to whichever way you see fit by selecting one of the bottom row dials, and then you get a little color wheel here, and you can mess with whatever colors you want to see. I like to throw in some purple, pink kind of stuff. And then if you want them to fade, or the top little dials are the alpha channels. We'll explain how that works later, but go ahead and just not touch those for now. But you can mess with the first colors too. Let's go ahead and make these green, but I don't want them to be quite as intense. I think these particles are additive though, so you won't see much of the green. But yeah, you now see there's a little bit of green in there. It starts out with white in its life. I want it to actually be yellow. No, let's do something more fun. Bright blue. Yeah, do some weird stuff. But yeah, you can change these colors and how much of a color you see by adding more dials by clicking in this area. If you wanted to be crazy, you could do sort of rainbow stuff over its lifetime and mess with it however you'd like. Yeah, here I have a little rainbow one. So yeah, you can mess with those colors as you see fit, and boom, there you have it. You have created your first visual effect inside of Unity. I'm proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourself, but it's awesome that you made it this far. And you have now been inside Unity and you have created a visual effect. So pat on the back to you. If you liked this video, if it helped you out at all, that is awesome. I'd love it if you could give me a like and a subscribe. I am brand new to YouTube and I'm kind of just having fun with this stuff. So any sort of support that you could show me would be awesome. Please leave comments if I left something out, or if there's something you have a question about, or if you just want to chat with me, feel free to just leave me a comment. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you go out and make some really cool effects. This is Travis Treadway. Take care.